recording on my new laptop. So we should have much nicer pictures and sound and all those sort of things from a laptop that was actually made this decade, not last decade. So hopefully people will enjoy the quality a little bit better. But how you been, Jack?
I'm hanging in there, man. I'm doing it. I'm doing my thing.
So since we spoke last, I've noticed you've been on a bit of a tear with pumping out content for the internet, man. It's been good to watch.
Yeah. I've been writing up a storm.
Okay, so what's prompted that?
Honestly, the last time we were doing a podcast together, we did the episode. I just kind of got inspired to write more, and because I stopped writing articles a while back, and sorry about that.
That's all good.
And it was like a flood of ideas just popped up into my head, and a lot of things that I did want to write about, just never put them down, like people squats and about how powerlifting is and just all that kind of stuff. And I just started spewing it out. That's kind of the thing. And then I went to a meet recently and I saw how things really just haven't changed in the 30 years that I've been in it. You know, things are prettier, but overall it hasn't changed, and it frustrated me. So I kind of like put it out there, and that's kind of what happened.
I really liked the feedback that you got on social media from it, especially Facebook, because Facebook does attract people a little bit more seasoned.
Yeah.
And there was some like really great lifters, like Vinny DiBenedetto. Every time he comments on something of yours, I still fanboy. I still go, oh my goodness.
Yeah, when he comments, I go, oh yeah, I'm friends with Vinny.
It's like, oh, that's so cool. And so I think and so it was mostly guys of our generation. And what I'm going to put out the front, we could very easily slide into 90 minutes of sounding like Statler and Wardlaw from the Muppets. We could just be grumpy old men about this. And I think a lot of the stuff that we see on social media at the moment just sounds like grumpy old men complaining about back in my day.
Yeah, for sure. And I try not to write in that voice because I remember hearing the guys that were my age and older when I was a teenager, and I was like, shut up, old man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Things are better. Suck it up, you know? And now I'm older. I'm like, things are not better 30 years later. You were right. I'm sorry.
Do you ever feel like, you know, finding some of those old blokes from when we were young and going, yeah, I get it now. Sorry about that. Sorry for being young.
A lot of those dudes are like, unfortunately, they're dead. The ones that I knew and talked to and kind of grew up with and got a lot of advice from, a lot of those guys were like in their late 60s back then when I was a teenager. And, you know, that's life, man. It just happens. But
what is the old saying is that youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I definitely waste the hell out of it.
It's like, yeah. So you came up with a list then of things that, like, you called it the sad state of powerlifting.
Yeah, that got people's attention. You can tell the people that never read the article and just complained in the comments. And I was like, shut up and read the article.
I must admit, slightly clickbaity with the title.
Yeah, well, that was the point. You know,
got to get the engagement up there, right?
Right. But that's, you know, I knew people were going to read that title and not read the article, but the people that actually read it, they agreed with most of it, but they also had their input, which I liked. Because I'm not the end all be all. I don't know all the answers. I don't have all the answers. And when they came up with some stuff, I was like, oh man, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. And of course, there's some people that came up with stuff that I'm like, that's ridiculous. Shut up. You know, that's never going to work. I could tell you've never stepped on a platform. So it is.
Yeah. What it is. So I think what we'll do with this, like, there's 3 major problems that you came up with. And I think, like you said, everyone agrees. But I think where we find ourselves is that no one really has a solution for any of these problems. And I think generating a solution can only come from defining the problem a little bit better. So I'll ask you a bunch of questions and we'll try and explore a few I guess, creative perspectives
Yep.
on how things are, and then we'll see what comes out of it, and then we'll do a part 2 when you write the follow up article on what we might actually be able to do about any of this, because we all love this stuff. We're weird. We're going to be here for the next couple of decades. So
Yeah. As much as we hate it, we love it. So.
yeah, right. We complain about it, but I think we use words like sad because it's important to us. And so we have an emotional response to what happens within our community.
And you don't get angry over something you hate. You get angry over something you're passionate about.
Yeah.
You want it to be better. So
yeah, so I think, like you said, it hasn't really changed in 30 years, some of these problems. And I think the first one that you said, the number one problem seems to be that there's way too many federations and not enough unity.
Right. And I've been hearing that since I started, and I'm sure the people before me, not as many, because there weren't as many federations, but it's just progressively got worse and worse over the years.
Yeah, we used to, here in Australia, we what's the word to it? We quite indulgently used to mock the US because we said every state has their own international federation, and so you can be the world champion of Arkansas.
Yeah.
And I know that there was some meets at one point where there's, like a tri-state area where there was 3 world championships went on in one weekend with some really big internet stars at each different world championship event.
Yeah, I think that might have been like California, Las Vegas, and somewhere else. I think it was like IPL or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just thought, well, if the guys that win each of those comp all turned up at the same venue at the same day, that would be one hell of a meet to watch. So because in Australia, for the longest time, we had 2 federations. Or for the longest time, we had 1. We stayed together until the 90s, and then we split, and we had tested and untested. And then in the 2000s and 2010s, then we started to generate a few more federations, and as people took their bat and ball and wanted to go home and play by their rules, and my friend is stronger than your friend, so I'm going to have a new federation, and then it seems to go from there.
Right. I'm perfectly fine with tested and untested federations. If they want, if it wants to be 2, then that's fine. I mean, ideally, it would be 1 federation where there's an untested division and a tested division. But then we get into the trouble of now there's a lot of divisions.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that kind of trickles into there's too many weight classes, there's too many masters divisions, and everybody goes home with a medal. So
that seems to be the bugbear of our generation in particular, and people older than us. I think people younger than us don't have so much of a problem with that. And I know this, like the 20-somethings coming through, and obviously, they're driving a lot of change in the way the direction of the sport. They're the generation that has lots and lots of options for everything. I struggle going out to get desserts with my daughters because they want to go to the dessert bars where you all make your own. You've got lots and lots of options. I hate that. I like going to a restaurant and go, here's your option. This is what we make. And I buy that. And so the way we engage with stuff is really different as well. So bringing that into balance, I think, is a big thing.
Agreed.
How we do that, who knows?
I think
I'll give you an example.
Have to be set aside, honestly. And greed, really. Like, let's be honest. There's a lot of federations because people want to make money, right? You open up a federation and you run meets, you make money. That's just how it is. And there's
how much money do you think? Do you think there's that much money being made?
Absolutely. 100%. There's that much money to be made. If you go to if you're lucky enough to get the nationals in America, where there are thousands of lifters, right? And people are doing multiple different divisions. And entry fees are $150, $175. I'm not quite sure what they are now, but they're around that 150 mark. Times that by 1,000. Go low and times it by 1,000. That's a crazy amount of money that you're.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you got to pay for the venue. Yes, you got to pay for this and you pay for that. They're bringing home a crap ton of money just in one meet because these people, they own the weights. It's all paid off. It's all write-offs after that. Then they run the local meets. like there are people in New Jersey. They basically have New Jersey, the state of New Jersey. For those listening, they have New Jersey kind of monopolized. They run all the meets in New Jersey. People that have New York, they monopolize all. So they're running all of those meets, and that's all they do. That's their job.
No, I had no idea that it was like that.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I don't even know everything about it, so I don't want to like say definitively that they're not making millions of dollars for sure, but they're making a good ass living. And they
Okay.
also spend a lot of money on stupid things too. Like you'll have people buying like costumes for the people in the meets and spending, hundreds of dollars of entry fee money on that. And I'm like, what are you doing? That could be prize money for the athletes, for the best lifters or something like that. But again, I could rant and just keep going and what you can do and what you can't do and what you should do and shouldn't do. Like I'm going to veer off for 1 second. I went to a local meet and great lighting, great display, music was on, everything. It was so much better than when I first started in a racquetball club in a gym where we were literally warming up next to the platform. Everybody could see us. It was crazy. So the atmosphere is much better. But 95% of the people in the audience, and I'm not exaggerating here, had no idea about the sport of powerlifting. They had no idea what the lifts were called. They had no idea how many times the people came out. They had no idea what the lights meant. I was answering questions all day. They didn't know anything. So who is this display for? The people in the audience were just looking at their phones. No one was cheering. When my friend came out, when my friend Wilson came out, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, and people were like, yeah, what happened? I don't know what's going on. So no one's there. They're just there to support their friend or their family because they told them to come, but they're not interested in it. So it was kind of like this weird vibe. But again, I kind of ran off there in a different direction.
You make a really interesting point because this is part of, I think this is part of the issue that no one's ever quite been able to solve, including going to a world championship. I'll be a little bit controversial. The only time I ever really saw like local people from, we'd go into these cities for worlds where most people didn't know anything about powerlifting, but sometimes they'll turn up and watch the competition. The only time I ever saw that was on the supers. When the super heavyweights are lifting, people turn up because I believe the inaccessibility of watching a super heavyweight do what we did. People just see bars bending and go, okay, that's really heavy. I get that. I think watching a 50 kilo dude, and this is, I'm talking about what I saw on the weekend, watching somebody weighing 50 kilos, bench press, triple body weight, that is like, that's super impressive. So cool.
I'm going to say this into the mic very, very softly. The general public does not care about your pound for pound lifts. They care about who lifts the most weight.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
That's the really obvious bit.
As lifters, we understand the pound. We understand what it takes to, wow, that guy totaled 10 times body weight. We understand that.
Yep.
But the general public sees, wow, so she deadlifted 350 pounds. Okay.
Let's go. Is that good?
The guy that's watching that goes, I deadlift 500. Who cares?
Yeah.
They don't care. They want to see the 1,000-pound squats.
I would have people ask me what I lifted, and this was always how you knew if somebody had any idea about gyms at all. And I'd say, they go, what did you lift at your competition? I go, 320 kilos. They go, how many times? And I'm like, just the once. I only did it the once. Because that number is kind of irrelevant. They go, is that heavy? Like, is that good? Is that bad? But when people would come and watch and they see me on rack, 320 kilos for a bench press and the bar's a little bit bent, they go, oh, wow, that's really heavy. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot, I think there's more than a little disconnect between what we think is important as powerlifters and what the general public watching the sport might encounter. So I think that's probably one of the biggest bits, isn't it? Is working out who the competition is for.
Mm-hmm. The competition is for the athletes, but you have to tailor it to the general public.
Yeah. Until we can get, that's the hardest.
That's why you have to have one damn federation.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One federation. Because if you're, and I said this in the article, no one's going to watch football if there's 15 different, leagues of the NFL or something like that. Who am I going to watch?
Right. So
it's too much to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a world champion. I'm a world champion. I'm a world champion. I'm a world champion. No, you're not. Who's the world champion? One, Raw Unity had it right. They had a great idea. I'm not sure if anybody remembers that, but Raw Unity, they used to have it in Florida. They had it right. They brought the biggest, strongest people together. It was a money meet, cash prizes, and whoever the strongest person was won the damn money. Plain and simple. Yep. Now, there was no drug testing, but drug tested and undrug tested lifters came, and they brought whoever had the highest damn totals, they got invited. And guess what happened? People were breaking world records left and right in that meet. Mm-hmm. And that's what Sheffield did 15 years later, something like that. Yeah. So meets need to be more like Sheffield.
I think so. I'll add, what is it called? The one that down here in Australia, Big Dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think what Marcos did with Big Dogs and Pro Raw and all that, creating like a really, really strong competition where you would finally see Milanichev and Lillybridge and Odell Manuel all on the same platform at the same time. You go, who really is the best when they're all there lifting the same bar together?
Yep.
And I think that
same
works.
Day.
The only problem with that is the drug tested, non-drug tested split, and you didn't get to see. I would have loved to see Ray Williams in a competition like that. Absolutely. So we actually get to see Ray compared to Andre and go, what's the difference with these guys?
Yeah, and there's not. I mean, at the top level, there's really only a like 10-15% difference, but that 10-15% is massive.
Yeah,
at those numbers.
Yeah,
right. You say, 10%. Well, that 10%, when you're talking about 1,000 kilo total, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a big. 100 kilos. That's a big ass number on your total. So that's why it would have to be tested and untested. And now people don't. Well,
there's guys in that. I know that there's guys in that competition that were completely drug free. They're just absolute. They're beasts.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Like David Ricks was in Raw Unity.
Mm-hmm.
He was drug free.
Yeah.
He beat Ryan Selly the one year. And
how cool is David Ricks?
I don't know if Ryan Selly was on or not, whatever. But he never competed in the IPF, so I have to assume he was quote unquote untested.
Yep.
I don't know if he was using, but he was untested. And then Ryan Selly came back next year and he beat him. So, and then Dennis Cherry was in there. He did the bench.
Mm-hmm.
He benched like 535 pounds. It was stupid. At 198 pounds. It's just dumb.
Heavy D, got to be heavy. Always.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
But yeah, that's kind of like if I was to start and give an idea, that's where I would start. Raw Unity, Big Dogs, something like that is, and that would kind of kill two birds with one stone. It brings more eyes to the table, right? Mm-hmm. More general public, and that brings more eyes to the table means more sponsors.
Yep.
And that grows the sport. So that's kind of, that works. But again, egos need to be set aside.
Yeah, that's a very top-down approach, though, isn't it? That we need internationally. I think at the top of the sport, it does seem to be that there's too many options. Yeah. I think at the grassroots level of the sport, that's probably a great idea, is to have lots and lots of options.
Yeah, but let me specify that. I don't mean one federation globally. I mean one federation for the United States, one federation per country. And because let's face it, the IPF, if once you get to the IPF, you realize how messed up the IPF is. And it is. Let's be real. It is.
It's like they're the gold standard, but that gold has been through some shit.
Yeah, it's gold plated. It's, you know what I mean? It's not the best. It's some countries, they're like, hey, it's okay not to drug test. It's fine. Like some countries have zero drug testing.
Yeah.
And they're fine with it. What happened to your standards, IPF? And then all of a sudden they just changed the weight classes one year. And then now there's like, I think there's what is there, like 7 or 8 weight classes for the men and women, and I don't even agree with the women's weight classes. Again, I'm ranting. Look, I'm going to shut up, and because I get frustrated and I get angry, and then I start going. But yeah, IPF isn't really it's the best because people have been saying it's the best forever. And
this is true.
I think it's definitely up there for sure, and I don't think there's anything better. But it could be better. For sure. There are things that need to change in it in order for it to be much better for the athletes, number one, and a hell of a lot better for the viewer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. What do you, if you had to pick one thing, what does the IPF need to do first to be able to sort of make things better, to make improvements? Where do we go? Because we both spent a lot of time there. I'm no longer with the IPF, but I really care about what the IPF does.
Probably, and this is gonna negate what I said about one federation, but allow people to compete wherever the hell they want to compete without fining them, without basically kicking them out for 6 months or a year or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like I didn't know any of this stuff until I got to a certain level. Once I got to a certain level and I started competing at a high level like that, I wasn't allowed to compete in a different federation because it wasn't an affiliate of the IPF. So now if I compete in there, all of a sudden I'm just guilty. And now I'm banned for a minimum of 6 months, which is ridiculous in my eyes.
Yeah. I'm with you.
You don't pay my bills. You don't tell me what to do until you have me under contract and you're paying my way and paying for everything. You don't tell me what to do. I can do whatever the hell I want. You're calling this sport a hobby, yet you're telling me what I can and can't do in my leisure time, which is ridiculous. If you're worried about me testing positive, do your job and test me in and out of competition.
Yep. See, that's where I landed with that one. Is I think that if you want to compete with the IPF internationally, you need to make yourself available for drug testing.
Yep.
I was on whereabouts. I got tested at home a lot. I once got tested got selected for testing at a meet that I wasn't competing at because I was hanging out in the car park with my friend who was a international level 400 meter sprinter, and the testers knew us both really well. And they walked past, and I think I said, "Oh, you're not testing me today, are you?" They go, "Well, we are now." So I was always available for testing. So I've got this track record. I think I should have been allowed to go wherever I wanted. Done a couple of meets that I wasn't going to be tested on the day, but if you wanted to test me, you know where I am. You can still come to my house at 6 a.m. You can still come to my training location at 5 p.m. I had 2 hours a day where I was available for testing.
Yeah, I think that should be out of your system.
Yeah. Just because I lift at a non-IPF meet doesn't mean I'm not available. And I think that's where we're getting wrong. Yeah. I think the exclusivity is both a massive benefit and a huge disadvantage at the same time.
Right. Yeah. If you allow your best athletes to, again, it messes up what I was saying about, having one federation, but if you allow them to do what they want to do, it brings more eyes to the sport, because there are some people that don't watch the IPF, don't watch USAPL or their affiliates or Powerlifting America, whatever, right? Because they're just not interested in it. They like geared lifting. They like the untested stuff. But if you got Jesus competing in an untested meet and he wipes the floor with everybody, guess what's going to happen? More eyes are going to come to the sport and to this federation that otherwise wouldn't have happened. So
Right.
I think it's a
I
win-win.
always kind of wanted to do a bench only multiply meet, because one, I wanted to be on the same platform as the biggest bencher in my country, Sean Bostock. I just wanted to be at the same comp as him, go head to head with him, and find out once and for all how much benefit you get from having your heels up while benching, having no start call, having a soft start call, and being allowed to lift your head off the bench. I just wanted to find out how much difference that would be. So under the same set of rules, what do we like? And so I never took the opportunity to do that because I didn't want to be banned from the IPF. But it would have been fun to find out.
Yeah. Also, I want to add to that. There's no advantage to having your heels up. So that rule needs to go away. And your head coming up, which I think USAPL got rid of, but now Powerlifting America is the affiliate. So I think their head is still down. But again, you're not going to get an advantage. Now, right. In a shirt, that's different.
That's what I'm saying. In a double ply shirt, that's an advantage because you can touch a little easier and then throw your head back.
You can tuck a little bit deeper. You can go
right.
So
that's
a dumb rule. And your feet sliding, another dumb rule. If your feet slide, that's a disadvantage. So what the hell are you giving them a red foot? Who cares? Stupid rule.
I think because I think the second one you said with Unity is having a more unified set of rules. I think needs to happen. Originally, all the rules were IPF rules because IPF was first. I know that I'm pretty sure that the WPC or the story that I got about the WPC rule book was the 1984 version of the IPF rule book with some things taken out. Yeah, and so if we're all starting from the same place, if we can, like you're saying, get rid of the dumb rules that don't actually infer an advantage to the lifter, and make it a little bit more strongman-esque, I guess, where if you miss a lift, it's very obvious why that lift wasn't given.
Yep.
I go to powerlifting meets sometimes as a very experienced international categorized referee, and I'm not sure what the infraction is.
Uh-huh.
I go, what if I'm not picking it? What hope does mum and dad that have come along to watch their daughter lift, or you got friends in the crowd trying to work out why their friend got turned down a lift? It should be obvious.
Right. And these are people that are in the sport, by proxy, right? What about people that are just tuning in?
Yeah.
They have no idea what's going on. None.
Watch your WPPO sometime and try and work out why a disabled bencher is getting a red light. It's hilarious. Like that's like the far end of the spectrum for overly officious rules.
Yeah, I've been watching Paralympic benching for I don't know how many years now, and it blew my mind how much more strict they are in their judging. Yeah. And I was like, there's no way that should have been called for a bad lift. That was the best bench the cleanest lift I've ever seen. And they got all reds. What the hell is happening?
Yeah.
Like arms completely locked, completely motionless on the chest. It was perfect. And I mean, like you said, I've been in it forever and I have no idea. There was no cards, no blue card, no yellow card, no reason, reasoning behind it either. So
I watched one of my guys at Worlds this year. He got reds on his second and third lift, and like bar came up every time. I couldn't work out why I was getting reds, and they have different. It's always called something sequence, and so it wasn't a press sequence. It wasn't it was the body sequence. I'm going, what's wrong with his body? I'm looking at it. He's not wobbling. He's not moving. He's not doing anything. And we found out afterwards he was getting red lights because on the side that he has his prosthesis, because he's an amputee, his knee doesn't fully straighten because of the prosthetic. And so he was getting red lights because his knee was bent. And like,
you're getting called for soft knees?
soft knees.
When it's not even a knee?
Yeah, when he's getting strapped down to a bench. So stuff like that. Like, so
I've never heard
I think is
knees on a bench.
yeah. I think that's a really good example of refereeing that goes way too far and makes the sport inaccessible for both competitors, coaches, spectators, casual observers.
Yeah, 100%. That's ridiculous.
At the same time, we don't want to go to the other end of the spectrum and go, what was it, SPF? Was that the one that I think we got a lot of so-called all-time world records where
SPF, WPO, there's quite a few of them. It's basically the multiply gear ones where like Hoff and stuff like that, and a couple other guys were squatting like inches high.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like you look from the front and you could see the guy's hip just right in front of you. It looks like they're just quarter squatting, and it's a little ridiculous. But
it's not good. So we just need to bring the ends of the spectrum a little bit closer together.
Yeah. Let's start there, like you were saying, because I'm starting from the top down.
Right.
If we start that way and just kind of start smashing the sandwich in a little bit, push those pieces of bread in a little bit and see what the meat sandwich kind of looks when all the mayo and lettuce, start squishing out of the sandwich.
Let's talk about strongman for a second, because you referenced strongman in there a little bit.
Yeah.
When we started powerlifting, strongman did not have the optics that it has today, and strongman in general was way smaller than powerlifting. And I think now it's, in terms of participation, it's either equal or greater.
I think strongman was more popular than powerlifting.
You think
smaller, yes, but more popular.
Oh, popular in terms of public support?
Yes.
Yeah, and that would have been because
more of the
ESPN.
general public knew what strongman was. Because anytime I told people what I did, I'm a powerlifter. They're, you're one of them guys that picks up rocks? Nope. That's not what I do.
Yeah.
They test everything except for powerlifting. So
everybody knew
what strongman was.
Yeah, everybody knew Bill Casimir as the strongman champion, but they didn't know Bill Casimir, the powerlifting champion.
Yep. Very few. You'd be surprised at how many people don't know that he was a powerlifting champion.
Mm-hmm. Same with Odie Wilson. Yeah. Odie Wilson's the Judas Vicus.
Mark Henry.
Mark Felix.
He did the Arnold. I don't think he did anything after that. He did the
Mark Henry.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he still owns teen records in powerlifting.
Yeah. But yeah, I think for sure, the strongman way more popular to the general public than powerlifting. But
strongman, however, did the hyper. So exclusivity, I think, is both an advantage and disadvantage. Strongman was super exclusive initially, like not today. Now it's really open and anyone can participate. I still remember being involved in. I wasn't involved in. I just watched the debates because they're fun to watch. Whether or not strongman should have 2 weight classes. That was hugely controversial at the time. That, like, do we open this up now to have a lightweight and a heavyweight section? What do we do? Because up until that point, it was just whatever weight you are, whatever size you are, if you're strong enough, you can participate.
Yep.
It leads to having events and competitors like Andrew Stumpy Rains from the UK, who dude was called Stumpy because he was so friggin' short. He was a brilliant squatter, but dude had to compete on stones. He was overhead pressing stones onto platforms.
Yeah.
But then would dominate in the squats.
Yep.
And so I think that was the inherent attraction. There was all these different body types, and it was just one ring to rule them all. But really, at that level, only 10 guys got to play.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you had people coming in from other sports to try and
because they had
compete.
the open, and then they brought in the 105 or under 105.
Yeah, round about, what was that, like 2010 or 11?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So there's very recent.
Like 12 weight classes or something like that total, something like that.
Oh yeah, I can't keep track. And
it's
I go
like
to
powerlifting in that sense. So it's gotten out of hand. And if you've noticed over the years there, even though it's popular, it's actually lost viewership and lost attendance in the stands.
Yeah.
Because there's too much. It's too much to watch.
What can we learn from CrossFit then?
CrossFit
Because
is entertaining because it's more relatable.
I think, and that was the thing about strongman as well. You could tell that something was heavy. You could relate to it.
Right.
Not necessarily do it. You're like, look at that guy's walking along with 5 fridges on his back.
Right. People know how much a fridge weighs.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But if you've never been in a gym and had 500 pounds in your back, you're like, okay, it's 500 pounds. But you don't know how much a fridge weighs, but you know that it's heavy.
Yeah.
So, and it's entertaining. It's
Yep.
crazy. Now you can't change powerlifting in the sense of like we're gonna put fridges on the bar and start squatting. You know what I mean? But we can do things like have 2 platforms going at the same time and face them at each other and have the lifters compete almost like a head-to-head competition. Have almost like a rising bar like it used to be a long time ago. It's specific competitions. Have like a rising bar meet where okay, there's 800 pounds on there. Who's coming out to do it? Now there's 850, 9 like that kind of like that. We could take that from strongman.
Yeah.
Only have 10 lifters or at the top level instead of having at the top level at the IPF. You got hundreds of lifters at the top competing in a meet. Where if you make it to the top, we could do like Sheffield and like strongman. 10 lifters, 15 lifters. That's it. Keep the meet short, keep it sweet. Everybody's lifting astronomical numbers, breaking world records. We can have competitions where like strongman does only a couple events per day. Maybe we can have a squat day. Maybe we can have like the Arnold used to do, a bench, just deadlift. Now we can introduce just squatting. Because there are some people that are crazy squatters like Ray.
I remember Wade Hooper wanted a squat only comp for years.
Like, how crazy would Wade be at that? He would have been incredible.
It would end up just being a squat off between Mike Coons and Wade Hooper.
That would have been. I don't even know who the hell would have won at that.
I'd like to see that. Let's put that out there now. Let's get them both back out of their semi-retirement. Yeah. Mike looks semi-retired. Wade's definitely long retired. Let's go. Come on. Come back out. One last crack. World wants to see it.
Wade with his crazy wide squat stance.
Right.
My groin hurts when I watch that.
Anyway, back on track. So it sounds like exclusivity at the top is a great thing.
Yeah.
And it's probably a bit at the top of our sport at the moment. It's quite dilute. We have several world champions that it's fun to run around and go, yeah, I'm the best in the world, and go, well, you won your federation world title. But if we look at I'll have a go because I'm on their team now. World Powerlifting, where I can referee now that I'm free and independent. They have a world championships, but World Powerlifting, it's the world championships of Southern Asia, China, and Australia. There's not really anyone else there. So to call yourself a world champion there,
the world championships.
Yeah, is it fair to call yourself a world champion, or you won a world event? But until we can get it down to this is the event that's worth winning, or maybe 2. I think at one point, Big Dogs and IPF world title. I think that was the pinnacle, or close to one pinnacle that we could have. But until we have one event where we find out who really is the strongest, who's the best under the same conditions on the same day, I think we'll always be lacking a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to get back on the strongman. How they do like the arenas. Like they have and they have the conventions on, like they'll have like, okay, of course, powerlifting competitions, they have like booths and vendors and stuff like that. But every single big strongman show has like almost at a convention center. And instead of having like a nationals in like a hotel, have it next to a hotel. Or buy a big hotel and then have it in the convention hall or something like that, and have a lot more vendors come in. So vendors like equipment manufacturers and stuff like that. That'll get people in the door that are just interested in wanting to buy something, and then they'll come and watch the show. So
Yeah. I think I really like that idea. What I would like to see with having vendors involved is providing free space for those vendors.
yeah,
Because I think from what I've seen, and I don't know if this is like it all over the world, most meat directors I know, they charge vendors rent.
yeah. Well, I mean, the
I
convention halls definitely aren't cheap for sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, it depends on the place, and it depends on how many ticket sales they know they're going to get. Like if you're in Europe, you're going to get a lot of ticket sales. So
I think if we're in the position where we're asking vendors to turn up in order to help people come to our competitions and promote the sport, then we need to give free rent to vendors and go, come and sell your stuff because you're going to bring a crowd with you.
right.
Yeah, slightly more creative business models are needed, I think.
Yeah.
In Strongman over here in Perth, our outdoor events seem to go really well. Well, when I was involved with Strongman, the outdoor events were a big pull.
Cool.
Like great, especially in a city like Perth where it's almost always sunny, and even in winter, the bad days are still pretty good. You can run really good outdoor events where people want to pass and stop and look, and I think that's one way. We did that here in Australia with powerlifting as well for our. My first national championships was in the middle of Brisbane in the mall. So with foot traffic and shopping traffic, and so people would just stop and watch and go, what are they doing? They go, oh, this is powerlifting. And so you have a good MC explaining stuff. That seemed to be, that was fun. People remember it.
You know what? That just popped into my head. With Strongman, we can kind of like work together since both sports are kind of struggling at the time, especially OSG. What's been going on with them. We've done this in the past where Strongman has invited powerlifters to like their deadlift championships and log pressing. Why can't we do more of that? Why can't we do, because the people that are interested in Strongman, now they know about the powerlifter, and then they'll start to follow them, right? And that worked. I don't know why we didn't do more of that, or Strongman and vice versa. Why can't we invite more strongmen over into powerlifting and say, hey, why don't you come over and like just do the deadlift?
Yeah.
You can use straps too. It doesn't matter. Just come on and do an exhibition, right? And then vice versa, we can go over there and do the deadlift championships, and maybe they can do like a squat, like whenever they do the squat, which is random in strongman, but we can have one of our powerlifters go over there and show how strong a powerlifter actually is at those main lifts.
Right.
And then maybe try an overhead with the log and stuff like that. Who knows? Whatever. But I think that would work. Maybe get some more eyes on. That was one of the other ideas I had that was going to be in like part 2, but I got to think. I was throwing it in
there. We'll flesh it out here and then put it in part 2 for people to read it. So staying on Strongman and looking at the history of Strongman, it wasn't a sport. It was never intended as a sport originally. It was to settle the score of which sport is strongest. And so that's why you had guys like Jeff Capes coming across. It was a great discus and shot putter. He was in there. Then you had Bill Casimir and Odie Wilson from powerlifting. You had footballers. You had, I don't know, whatever John Paul Sigmason was before he did Strongman, that.
I think he kind of just did everything like body, but he was kind of like the first of like the new wave of strongmen where like people started looking like Mariusz Pudzianowski, where they were kind of like the total package. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. So the ESPN running World's Strongest Man every year, it was a competition designed for ESPN to be marketed to the general public and to make money off ad revenue. Now that it's, I don't want to say the word diluted, now that it's expanded to attract more participation, that product looks really, really different. And powerlifting started from having the product that Strongman have now, which is that really everyone can enter. We've got lots of weight classes. There's no barriers to getting in. How do we make the top of the sport look really attractive while also maintaining the huge participation rates to drive people into the sport? I think the diversity aspect is really important for getting people in, and that's where possibly having lots and lots of federations and lots of divisions is beneficial.
Yeah, especially for people that are living in places where there's no competitions. So
Yep.
they'd have to fly or take a
Yeah.
train or drive for 8 hours or something like that. But yeah, it's one of those things where like, it's like wishful thinking.
It is.
You know what I mean?
I
It
think we
hasn't
need
changed in
more.
40
I think
years.
there
I
needs
don't
to be
think it's gonna change.
more opportunities at a local level to get involved.
Yeah. Another thing that I think would help would be less weight classes, less divisions. That'd be better overall. I know it's more inclusive, like you were saying, but we don't need a 123 class and a 132 class
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be every 10 or 15 pounds. I mean, come on. Really?
Yeah.
Like, how
Otherwise, you
many?
get into what boxing looks like, where there's
Right.
yeah.
It gets ridiculous. It gets diluted so bad.
Mm.
6 weight classes total per man per woman.
Yep.
That's it.
Possibly. It could work.
I think that would be good. But
There is I was trying to talk to a couple of people about this one night, and it definitely came out wrong, or maybe there's just their interpretation was completely wrong. I want as many people participating as possible. That doesn't, and I think that means that less percentage wise people should be winning. So the more people that we have involved, the less, like, if you got 10 people involved, 10% are going to be champions, right? So that means one person is going to be the champion. If you have 100, keep it at 10%. So there's only 10 champions, not 50 champions like we've got now. So it just means that I think people have to get much, much better at placing 7th in a local meet.
yeah,
And being okay with coming 5th.
I think the 10% should be even lower. Honestly,
Yeah,
I mean,
that was a random
huge
number
meets
thrown
here.
out. Probably should be
I know.
1%. Let's go with 1%. It should be.
Yeah, really. I
So,
don't know, man.
yeah, I think one of the big problems I've had for a very long time is people running around thinking that I want people to know that their achievements are great. I don't want people to hear this and go, "Oh, Nathan's running people down for winning a local meet." I want them to be proud that they've won a local meet. But I want them to remember that it's a local meet and it's in a bigger context. With social media, I think we've produced a lot of people that are inflating how good their achievement really is in order to feel good about being involved. And then a year later, these athletes are kind of dropping out of the sport because they can't maintain that high winning percentage. And so it doesn't feel good anymore that they're not the champion. They're not breaking a record. And that's what real powerlifting is, working 5 years for a 5 kilo PR, putting 2.5 on your total over 6 months is then an achievement. And that's where we're seeing the dropout, because I think we're externally rewarding people coming into the sport too much too early. And so there's not that intrinsic motivation to return. It should be mostly intrinsic rewards for local comps, I think.
I agree with that.
I think the prize money should be pushed up the chain for the people that have taken 5 years to get to the top, not 5 months.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So how do we do that? Because now we have to change the psychology of a whole community or a whole generation.
Again, I think it cycles back to less divisions, less weight classes, and definitely a higher, it goes against what you said, but a higher entry to barrier for, like over here, like you don't need a total for regionals or nationals. Like the nationals is a low entry total, which is ridiculous. Like, how are there 1,000 people plus at a national level meet? I remember it was like,
it depends on what the point of the
to get to that.
Yeah.
Like, I am a national level competitor, and that meant something. Now you could be at your nationals and your second meet. What the hell is that? So
Yeah.
have
Okay.
people work towards, like you were saying, you got to put in the time.
Mm.
And when you hit that mark and when you hit that next achievement, because let's face it, local meets that's just a stepping stone. If you plan on doing this for a long time, you break a record.
Is it though? Is it a stepping stone? It was a stepping stone for us. And so I think this is a really important one. We used it as a stepping stone because we've got this weird psychology about us that we want to be the best in the world. And so we went up to local, state, national, regional, international, world.
Right.
That was us. I think where we fall down in powerlifting is that pathway should be the 1 to 2% pathway, and the 98% or the 90% should be for the people that will never ever go beyond local meets. And we
They should still use it as a stepping stone but in a different way.
Yeah.
Meaning you use the meet and you hit your lifts, and then you keep going to the local meets and you try and hit your PRs. And eventually you might make it high enough, or you might not, to get to the next level. Either way, that's fine, as long as you keep progressing. But it's still you're still stepping on the next stone. You have to compete there in order to just compete.
Yep.
I understand that people aren't genetically gifted and they're not driven enough, or whatever the case may be, that you're never going to make it to that next level.
Or they just don't want to. That's a really important one. So I'm reinserting myself as a retired lifter back into this. And Matt McKay, we talk a lot about this and talk about this Friday night lifting league. And I think for especially a lot of people that aren't aspirational, having some kind of system where we can just get together to lift a lot and have it slightly competitive and slightly scored, no trophies, no prizes, casual appearance. So if you don't have a soft suit, who cares? We have good refereeing. We maintain the standard, but the idea is just about getting people on platforms. Have very low entry fees, and have that as being the volunteer bit of the sport, like we would for social football, softball leagues, baseball games where you can drink a beer at third base, those kind of leagues.
Right.
And then have levels up from that are then more and more exclusive. And the more you go up through those levels, the less people are there, the bigger the spectacle, the more we should be thinking about the crowd and what the optics are like for spectators. And we almost have like a reverse system going on. But we go to local meets now, and we've got all this sophisticated technology for, like you say, who's it for?
Yeah. It's like these concert level things at a state meet.
It's cool, but it's really driving prices up, isn't it?
Yeah. Nobody cares about that. No one, I mean, really, no one cares about that.
Powerlifters care about it.
Like you said, it's cool looking, but
yeah. But let's face it, at Worlds, Arnold's, Sheffield, Raw Unity, the people that are turning up to watch are powerlifters that didn't make it. Isn't it? It's like powerlifters that really like watching other powerlifters lift, but it's still not getting general public going, oh, you know what? This weekend there's a powerlifting meet on, I'm going to go watch it. It's still casual powerlifters. So I think it's those people that would be in the local meets. If they've got an outlet to compete, it's low cost, low entry, low barrier to entry. They're the people that turn up to Sheffield to watch.
Yeah.
Because they know they're never going to make it, but they love this sport. They're also the people that turn up to Major League Baseball, because what else are you going to do on a Saturday afternoon in summer? Mm-hmm. And then Sunday you go to your local league and you have a hit, you have a muck around with your friends, you have a few beers, and then you go watch the Major League game. I think we need more of that in our sport.
Completely agree with you. Yeah. We need more dudes and ladies in the stands eating nachos and drinking beer,
right?
And screaming. Oh, you know what? That kind of gives me an idea. Why don't we have like teams like other sports? Like I know we got teams, but make it like traveling league teams. Where that'd be kind of cool to think of. Whatever. That's another
maybe.
I'll think on that one.
6 months from now, we'll flesh that out into something.
Yeah.
So that's really we've stuck on that what do you call it? The unity bit. We've talked about rising costs. What was the third thing that you said that is really what you've noticed?
I don't even remember. I've written so many articles. Let me pull it up.
Because that rising cost one, that's definitely something I've noticed, and I think that I think a lot of that
for me
is having these really super professional, glitzy local meets that are expensive to put on, and you don't want meet directors losing money on a local meet because then they won't do it again. We want to give them the opportunity to make a bit of money, so they stick around, run lots of meets, but maybe we don't need the local meet to look quite as good as Sheffield.
Yeah. That's it. Like, it doesn't need to be.
Sheffield needs to look like Sheffield, though.
What's that?
Sheffield needs to look like Sheffield. It's really important that they've got the multimedia packages and it looks schmick and all that. But we don't need every single. As a spectacle.
At least from the live stream and stuff that I watch. I've never been there in person, but it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I can't comment on the in person either, but yeah, the live stream's awesome. The technology that they use, all the media stuff is highly sophisticated and probably what the top of the sport should look like.
Yeah. Better commentators. I'm not saying commentators are bad. The commentators at Sheffield are great, but commentators, when they like some local meets and even national meets that I've heard, these people are like talking about nothing. They're talking about random stuff instead of like the lift that's happening. Talk about what's happening. Be a real commentator. Like, take some notes. Watch other sports. Listen to people that do this for a job, and take notes and follow what they're doing. And that will help kind of keep the audience attention higher, at least in my opinion.
I agree. You've heard Joe Whitehouse on the. She does a lot of IPF ones. She's got a British accent.
Yeah.
I think anybody commentating needs to listen to Joe and to Gary Williams. Like,
they're
I think
fantastic together.
Brilliant, just brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, you never, I know that they're well researched. I know how much time they spend finding out what they need to find out about lifters and about lifters' histories and what's going on and all those sort of things. So there's actually some work there's actually some work that goes into doing these roles. It's not just hand your friend a microphone because they like talking on live streams.
Yeah.
Let's raise the standard for all those sort of jobs.
I think the other one was powerlifting is boring.
We can't get away from that.
That one pissed some people off, but let's face it, it's boring to watch. It's very repetitive.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I hate to repeat myself, but it brings me back to that's why we need less divisions, less weight classes, shorter meets. It needs to be shorter and more entertaining. That's why 2 platforms with the lifters facing each other, maybe a different setup, stuff like that to make it more entertaining for the crowd.
Yeah.
Just to throw some ideas out there. But people don't want to sit in an audience for 8 hours to watch their cousin do 9 lifts.
Yeah, do 90 seconds of work, no doubt.
That's it.
You go in and you come watch your mate. They do 9 lifts. You probably see, what's that? Maybe at best, you watch them for 9 minutes, but you're there
at best if they
for 6 hours.
All the time out.
Yeah.
So
it's difficult. So then I think there needs to be something for spectators at these meets.
Right, and that's where the commentators are great for like the live stream. But, people like Gino are fantastic for live events.
Yes.
He's grown so much over the years with his knowledge. In the beginning, he was just great, like as an entertainer, but now he knows a lot about the sport, which is even better. And people are trying to follow suit with him, but I don't think anybody's going to replace Gino. You know what I
No,
mean?
no, you can't copy Gino. You can't
No.
copy a unicorn. Like,
Right.
be your own
Don't try and mimic him. Just be yourself.
be
Like
your own mythical
Nico.
creature.
You know who Nico is, right? Nico Hosander?
Yeah.
He's fantastic on the mic.
Oh,
He's fantastic. Yeah. He did the Arnold. He's done so many meets. I don't know why. And he actually lives pretty close to me now. I don't know why. I got to ask him. He doesn't do more emceeing. He's so good at it.
I think it's from not being asked for the most part.
He needs to just jump in and grab him by it, because he's got like that WrestleMania type voice. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, brother. You know, it's like, I'm not really a big wrestling fan, but like that voice kind of catches your attention.
Yeah, he's got that Randy Macho Man Savage kind of thing to him. And he's a big character. I know he's lost weight, but just to look at him, he's a character, you know, and what he used to bring on the platform as well with energy and entertainment. I think people enjoy that.
Explosive, powerful dude.
Yeah. I'm gonna sound arrogant and self-absorbed. I want to do more emceeing. I've done it for years. I know I'm good at it. I get a lot of positive response from it. I did that one year with Gino at the Arnold, and that was hell fun, and we're a good team together. I've done nationals here in Australia. Recently, I did a Special Olympic comp and got lots of positive feedback. And so I think knowing who can MC and who's good at revving up a crowd, I think that's a way forward, especially with not so much for local comps, but for at least national and regional. I think we need to start looking at that side of thing.
And that helps with television and stuff like that. Because if you look at the Arnold, they didn't hire their friend. They hired a professional host to host the show. That guy hosts American Ninja Warrior. He hosts so many different shows, that guy. This is his job. You think he knew about Strongman? No. He's a pro. He did his research, and now he knows about Strongman. Plain and simple. And his co-host is Mark Henry.
Yep.
So people will look, oh, I feel comfortable now because Mark is here. But that guy's kind of the main star of the hosting and emceeing. So
the best emceeing, once again, we'll go back to Gino. I think the reason Gino worked so well was because of Larry Maley. It's not 100% on Gino on that one, because you have this, how tall is Gino? Like 6'4", dressed as this rocker, and now he dresses really weird. But that first couple of Arnolds, he was a rock star. He looked like he'd just come off tour with Ringo Starr, and he's like, all right, I'm going to come and talk. I'm at the Arnold now. I'm going to talk about powerlifting. But him and Larry played off each other really well. You had a very straight guy telling you who the next three lifters are, telling you the lifting order, telling you the weight on the bar, all those kind of things. And then Gino comes in and does his Gino bits, revs the crowd up. So you had lots of high quality information plus entertainment together.
But that's kind of how it works, right? That's like the best combo.
That's like what we do in every other sport.
Like you got the straight guy, and then you got the herky jerky comedy guy.
Yeah.
It's like the best comedy, best combo. So yeah, I think you're dead smack on with that.
That means we need to provide more training for MCs, announcers, stuff like that, and treat it as a proper role, just like we do with referees.
Yep. Or just hire actual. I mean, we're already spending the damn money. Hire people that do this for a living. Yeah.
Yeah. Professional talkers.
Yeah. At the high levels, nationals and up.
International meet directors, people around the world that are putting meets on. I'm available. You can contact me through here. I'll come to you.
Perfect.
If you like an Aussie accent at your American event, I'll come and do that for you. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'll jump in there too. Me and Nathan will.
There we go. We're available.
Yeah, perfect. I'll run around like an idiot, and he could be saying everything that needs to be said.
We got it. That'll be fun. The other one, so James Wakefield was commenting on your article a fair bit. James is a great guy here in Australia, does a lot for the sport, heavily involved across the board. – He's also involved in open powerlifting. I think open powerlifting is the way is a method for pulling the sport back together. So if we keep on pushing people towards open powerlifting, and you get to see where everybody lines up against each other, and you actually see who are the top 20 lifters in the world across all federations, when we've got some kind of formula to put them together, that's where you start to see, possibly my world title in the obscure federation that puts me at 150th in the world. Maybe that's a regional meet. Maybe we should call that a national level, and we start calling things for what they really are.
Yeah.
Because we have the technology. The internet is a great unifier in this regard. Pre-internet, you could run around telling everyone you're the world champion. No one could check it. Now we can check it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having everybody compete, or pushing everybody to compete in the open, is so much better than having, like, let's face it, there's some teenagers that are right up there with the open.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. If you're in there, just compete. Everybody's in the open, like you said. And wherever you may lie, you lie. And let's see who the strongest is, like you said. And I think that's a perfect way to wean out the weak among the people that think they're the best.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think so too. I think it's important to say for that one, it is not to discredit anybody's achievements. It is not to condescend. It's not to put anyone down. We're a very objective sport. It's what I like about us. Like,
yeah, it's straightforward.
Yeah.
You either are strong, or I should say this: you're either stronger than the next person, or
you're not. You lifted more, or you didn't.
Strong is relative.
Yeah,
you're strong. If you're stronger than you were before, then you're stronger.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has their limitations.
And if you're on the platform and you lift it, good on you. You're a strong person for being out there. But there's only one strongest.
Yep.
There's one heaviest lifter. There's one heaviest lift. Let's bring it back to that, and remember that we've got a very, very niche but objective sport. We're not giving style points. You know, it's in or it's out. That's simple. And so all the relative, I think the relativity that's come in, especially over the last 10 years, and trying to compare across weight classes and dots. Like, I still don't know what a dot is. I know what a Glossbremer and a Wilkes is. But now there's all these new ones. I have a friend that says, if you need to pull out a calculator to prove that you're strong, then you probably just should lift a little bit more. There are some people in lighter weight classes that when you see them lift, it is obvious that they're just good, right? And they don't really need to show you a formula to say, I'm really cool at this. As I'm saying this, I'm thinking of Liz Craven here in Australia. It's absolute. Even doesn't matter whether she's M2, female, lightweight. Doesn't matter. You watch her lift on, you're going, damn, she's strong. I think we need more of that, where we just go, that's the gold standard there, and then everything else is really cool to watch, and we should encourage and celebrate and clap and all those kind of things. But there's one at the top, and it's okay having just one.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't change who you are as an individual or your value. And I really think that this idea of that everybody needs to be the champion and everybody needs a medal and everybody needs to say that they've got a new record or a new world championship, I think that's what's wrecking our sport.
Mm-hmm. That's a clip right there. It kind of made me think of when I was thinking about something the other day, where I feel like powerlifting is more now about look at me and not what I can do, and I don't care who sees it. Because
this is where we start sounding like Statler and Waldorf.
It's for somebody like me that started in the 90s, it was it was very niche. It was
incredibly.
powerlifters were powerlifters, and we took it very serious, and we almost didn't want outsiders, which was a bad thing to let the sport grow, right? We didn't want that, but
I think you remember how picky we were about the outsiders we let in.
Yeah.
We wanted to find people that were like us.
Because we needed to have a certain mentality. This was something we're going to do forever, and we're going to do it 100%. And if you're not about that, get the hell out.
Yeah.
And it's become more of, hey, I'm going to try this for a couple of years, see how many views I can get online, and then I'm going to leave. Because let's face it, the retention rate is super low.
Yeah, I heard that the average powerlifter does one meet ever in their life.
Right. It's way low. And even the top people, they're only staying for a couple of years, where like you got the people that are I'd say mid-30s and up that have been doing it for a while. They got 10 plus years under their belt.
Yeah.
Easy. No one's staying in it for a long time. And it's just kind of, there's a difference between powerlifters, like true powerlifters, and people that are just
doing
great athletes.
Yeah.
Because some people are great athletes, and they find powerlifting and they just dominate.
Right. It's why I say I'm glad NFL
the mentality isn't there. It's not the same. And you don't have to be the best to have that mentality. And it's a weird thing for me to say that, because there were some people that I competed against, and they were just brand new. They were like babies in the sport, and they wiped the floor with me. And I had, 10, 15 years on in the sport. But genetically, they were just better. They were just better than me. I couldn't beat them. And it sucked. But I knew all I had to do was just wait. Because they weren't going to stay in the sport.
Yeah, okay.
All I got to do is wait. Because next year, you're not going to be here. You're going to get tired. You're going to get bored, whatever. And you're going to leave. And guess what? Guess what's going to happen? I'm going to win.
And I guess that's where we need to find a more of a balance as well. That some of us old school guys, I know we're a little bit dismissive of people that we think aren't going to stick around. And I think we need to be better at welcoming those people and realizing they're a very necessary part of our community. And they're always going to come in 2 or 3 years, dominate, and then leave again. Dylan Hellriegel, like freakishly phenomenal athlete, first person to ever squat 1,000 and deadlift 900 in the same meet on the same day, raw. Dude's gone back to bodybuilding already. Like... He was. It feels like he was around for 2 seconds. I know it was more than 2 seconds. He did a lot, but it wasn't a long career. But it was intense while he was here, and then he's gone off to do something else. And so I think we need to accept that that's always going to be a part, and welcome those, celebrate it, but then also remember that the sport gets carried on by dudes that just never ever seem to leave, and they're going to be around for 40 or 50 years. That photo that I posted on Instagram on the weekend is a really good example of someone that just won't leave powerlifting. They're here forever. And so we have to kind of embrace that and work with that as well.
I think what's great, here's the other side of the coin for me. What's great about the younger generation that is, they're here in like a kind of like a fleeting moment, and they have hundreds of thousands of followers on social media, and they're fantastic athletes. It brings so many eyes to the sport.
Yeah.
That's a huge upside. So I'm not going to go, no, we don't want you. No, we want you. In fact, we want you to stay longer.
Yeah. Can you just stick around a bit longer? It'd be nice. Yeah. We like you here.
We don't want you to stay longer than your body wants you to, but just do things the right way. Stay, keep bringing attention to the sport, and then have the governing bodies say, hey, look, we can really, use you, and say, can you help promote the sport a little bit more? And instead of saying, hey, buy my product, hey, why don't you guys come and sign up at this meet, and it'll bring more
Mm-hmm.
people into the sport.
Yeah. Yep.
Like there's always ways to use the people that are so popular in our sport. Instead of just being a fan, maybe come and do a meet. Yeah, we know most people aren't gonna stay, but who cares?
First person that springs to mind when you say that is Johnny Candido.
Yeah,
Guy drove me nuts. I wanted to smash him. Like he really got on my nerves. But dude got eyes on the sport, and I know he brought infinitely more attention and people into the sport than I ever will, because I don't have his mass appeal. I'm not a big YouTuber, but like I think he's a really, over the last 20 years, he's kind of an important person.
Yeah.
You know, he was the first of a certain type of powerlifter that then attracted a lot of other people just like him.
Right.
And while it's difficult for old people to deal with, we need people like that.
Yeah, because we don't, just so what? I don't agree with, most of the things he says and all this other kind of stuff. Who cares? As a whole, he's better for the sport.
Yeah. Yeah. He's important. He's growth. He's a very different perspective to ours. And I think for me, one of the inherent attractions of powerlifting is that it's a sport. It is a sport and a community that can hold a lot of different perspectives all at the same time.
Right. That's kind of what we were talking about before we got on here.
It is, isn't it?
We all have our own path and we all get to the same damn spot anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, just the very fact that you, myself, and Johnny Candido were at the same event at the same time and got there in exceptionally, vastly different ways, I think shows how cool powerlifting can be and how great it is to have so many entry points and so many perspective and histories represented. I think that's our strength. And I think we need to protect that at all costs, even if it produces people we don't like. Right? There's a place for everyone. Let's see if we can wrap it up then. You called your article The Sad State of Powerlifting. And I think what we've talked about today is anything but sad.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of strength in what we do and the way we're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a lot of just trying to get solutions. I mean, even in those solutions, there's problems.
Yeah. And we're always going to have problems.
Right. But at least we're trying. Yeah,
we're working on it. Going back to James Wakefield, maybe we'll end it here. This is the coolest thing that I've seen for a while. There's a group of guys in Melbourne, and I think they're led by James. And I know he does a lot of stuff on Instagram trying to help out new referees, like little technical things, how to be a better spotter and loader, and developing spotter and loading crews to go around different comps to help out. Because I think that's an untapped part of the sport. I went to Texas for Bench Worlds in 2024, and that spotter loader crew from Midland, Texas, from Midland University, I think that's all Tim Anderson's guys, right? They're awesome.
I think so.
Yeah. They're amazing, and they're kind of showing that there's different aspects to powerlifting that you can be really good at and become deeply involved in the sport. And one of them is being really good at loading plates for other people.
Yeah.
We have almost no information out there on how to be a good spotter and loader. Now try and run a comp without spotters and loaders. And we'll see, I think we're missing some of these aspects. Like we just talked about, how do we get better MCs? How do we develop that? How do we develop better spotters and loaders? Because if we have great spotters and loaders everywhere, we have better competitions.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe that's where we start. If anyone's out there and knows how to build websites to give out information for people that want to volunteer, get in touch. I want to be part of that.
I know how to build websites.
All right. We should chat. So I think maybe that's that. I know for me, that's where I want to start, is all of these positions in powerlifting that that we kind of pass on information face to face. So you learn little tricks on how to load plates and how to organize stuff, because you might spend a whole lot of time with Randy Earl, who's done it for years, and he can tell you how to do something. But unless you meet Randy Earl, you never learn how to do it. So I'd love there to be centralized resources for spotters and loaders, scorer's desk, how to set up for a meet, all of those kind of things that kind of get lost and don't get talked about. We've got lots for coaches, lots for lifters, nothing for everybody else. So whoever can step into that space, give me a call. I want to be on board. I want to help you out.
Yeah, faster, more. It's like a seminar for the volunteers.
And I think it honors the volunteers as well. We're telling them your job is really important. We love what you do.
Without them, the meat doesn't run.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
If you don't have spotters, there's no meat. We can't go forward.
That's a great idea. I like that.
Cool, man. All right, let's work on that. Let's do some work, and then we'll get back together. We'll do another podcast and go, guys, we've got some information for you.
Sounds good.
All right, man. We'll catch you real soon.